Picture a woman, 40,000 years ago, the Ice Age, frozen grassland in every direction, as far as she can see. She belongs to a group of maybe 30 people. She sleeps in a cave, wrapped in stitched animal hide. Everything she owns fits in her arms, a stone blade, a bone needle, a fur against the cold. No coin, no house that stays in one place, no field. She will never, not once in her life, own a single acre of land. And there's something else she's never seen. A wedding. No ring, no vows, no word for husband, no word for wife, no priest, no ceremony, no father arranging her future. In her entire world, nobody belongs to anybody. She just chooses. And when it stops working, she chooses again. That's not chaos. That's not some broken, primitive mess we eventually had to fix. That's just life. For tens of thousands of years. All the way through the Stone Age, that's how it worked. Marriage, the thing we treat like it's been carved into human nature since the beginning, didn't exist for almost the entire time our species has existed. So what did that world actually look like? How did people choose each other, love each other, raise children, with none of the rules we assume we can't live without? And what finally ended it? Let's go back. For most of the Old Stone Age, a stretch of time so long it makes all of recorded history look like a single afternoon, people lived the same basic way. Small groups, always moving, following the herds, mammoth, bison, reindeer, across frozen land, hunting, gathering, getting through one winter, then the next. And in that world, there was almost nothing to own. You can't hoard grain. Farming doesn't exist yet. You can't keep a herd. The animals are wild, and you're the one chasing them. You can't own land. You'll be somewhere else by next season. Everything you have, you carry. And that single fact, that people owned almost nothing, quietly shaped the way they loved. Because ask yourself, why do we even control who marries who? To protect property, to keep bloodlines clear, to decide who inherits the land, the house, the fortune. Now take all of that away. No land, no house, nothing to pass down. Suddenly there's no reason to lock two people together. Nothing to guard, no inheritance to protect, no reason for anyone's father to arrange a thing, because there's nothing to negotiate. So people simply chose. Two people paired up because they wanted to, attraction, or because he was a sharp hunter, or she stayed calm when things fell apart, or because of the way someone shared their food during a brutal winter, or just laughed at the same things by the fire. And when the feeling faded, they went their separate ways. No shame, no contract, no law, because there was no law yet. Anthropologists studying the last hunter-gatherer peoples on Earth still catch the echo of it. Partners chosen freely, left freely, again and again across one life. But here's the part that really breaks the modern brain. A child didn't belong to one couple. A child belonged to the group. When 30 people share one fire and depend on each other just to survive the winter, nobody raises a baby alone in some private little home. There is no private home. Everyone feeds the kids. Everyone watches them. Grandparents, aunts, older kids, people who aren't even related. All of them share the work. Scientists have a name for it: cooperative childrearing. Many think it's one of the reasons our species made it at all. We raised our slow, helpless, oversized-brained babies as a team. And that changes everything about pairing. Because if the whole group feeds your child, you don't need to lock down one partner to survive. A mother back then wasn't depending on a single man to keep her baby alive. She had the entire community behind her. That desperate pressure that would one day force two people into marriage? Back then, it barely existed. So sit in that world for a second. A cave, a fire, furs against the cold, painted walls, stone tools. No weddings, no ownership. Love given freely, ended freely. Kids raised by everyone around them. For tens of thousands of years, through mammoth hunts, through frozen winters, through the entire Stone Age, this was just how humans lived. Not the ring, not the vow. This. Which leaves one enormous question. If people were free, if this worked for over 100,000 years, who ended it? What was powerful enough to make an entire species give up that freedom and start locking love into contracts? It wasn't love. It wasn't religion. It was the single biggest shift in human history, and it happened right at the tail end of the Stone Age. Farming. Around 12,000 years ago, still the Stone Age, but right near its end, something changed. People stopped chasing herds and started planting seeds. They tamed animals instead of hunting them down. They stopped moving. And they stayed. Staying changed everything. Because now, for the first time in the whole human story, people had things that actually lasted. Fields they came back to every year. Grain stored against the winter. Herds they owned and bred themselves. Homes that didn't move. Wealth that didn't vanish when the season ended. Wealth that could grow. And wealth that, one day, you'd die and leave behind. That created a brand new, genuinely terrifying question our ancestors had never once had to ask. When I'm gone, who gets all of this? The answer was obvious: my children. But that answer had a trap hidden inside it. If you're about to hand your land and your herd to your children, you'd better be certain they're actually yours. And just like that, for the first time ever, it mattered, desperately, exactly who was with whom. A partner's freedom was suddenly a threat to a fortune. Love, for the first time, had to be controlled. And that's how, out of grain and land and inheritance, the world's first marriages appeared. Not to honor two people who chose each other, but to bind them, to make the pairing permanent, public, enforceable, to turn a free choice into a locked contract, so property could pass safely down the bloodline. That was the trade. We gave up the free, shared, wandering world of choosing, and in exchange, we got permanence, security, a clean line of inheritance. We swapped freedom for a fortune we could hold on to. So the next time someone tells you marriage is natural or the way it's always been, remember what actually came first. For the overwhelming majority of the human story, the entire Stone Age, we did not marry. We chose, freely, over and over, with no one's permission but our own. We raised our children together, owned almost nothing, and belonged to no one. Marriage didn't rescue us from some lonely, savage past. It replaced a way of life that worked perfectly well for over 100,000 years, and we only gave it up the moment we finally had something to lose. We didn't invent marriage because we fell in love. We invented it because, at the end of the Stone Age, we finally had something worth inheriting. But if we gave up all that freedom just to protect what we owned, what does it mean that today, all over the world, people are quietly walking away from marriage again? Are we forgetting the deal we made? Or are we finally remembering what came before it? That's a story for another time. And if you want to actually see it when it drops, that's what subscribing does. One click, no cost, and you never miss where this goes next. If this messed with your head a little, hit like. It's the only reason more people ever see videos like this. And if you're the kind of person who wants to know why we do the things we think are just normal, there's a lot more buried in our past like this. Stick around.